G'day, so in this episode I'm actually in Colombia. One of my mates has been living off grid here for several months, and I've come out to his property, his kingdom, and I've seen some areas of improvement because he's still got a bit of a bush camp going on, which can be quite difficult to get comfort and hygiene. So we're going to do a bit of a working bee and just fix up some basic things around the camp so I can function a bit more smoothly and can feel even more like home.
Unfertile.
We're just working on a more permanent latrine here, field latrine. So that's a fancy terminology for a permanent hole that you poo in. And when you're in a camp for a period of time, kind of days, if you're there for a couple of days, you want to dig a permanent latrine like this. It makes hygiene a lot easier, and it also means that when you need to go to the toilet, you don't need to dig another hole. The hard work is done. So that latrine there can last him, 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. And each time he uses the bathroom, he'll put on some soil on top of his feces and toilet paper. And yeah, in 2 weeks, that hole will be full and covered over, and in several months, it will be completely taken back to the earth, probably 6 months. But some of the problem can be with having open feces in an area near where you're living, in your habitat, is a fly will come and sit on the poo. The poo can be exposed to the air for 2 weeks, 3 weeks until it falls apart. And then you've got flies coming and eating on that and then flying into your kitchen, or maybe the neighbour's dog comes around and has a play with the poo and then comes and sits at your front porch. And so it's just a bit of a risk there for hygiene.
Mushroom out of protection to not destroy it.
We're just tidying up the shower now, and I think it's important to attend the emotional needs to feel comfortable and clean when washing. Actually, it's quite easy for hygiene to slip in an environment like this, and it can become a bit uncomfortable, and I think it's really important to honour that process. I know that it's certainly easy to become a mess in the bush, but the more comfortable and clean you can live out here, the better it is.
See, there was a lot, right?
Yeah. He's brave with how he navigates his life.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up some of those concrete slabs.
Well, these houses are actually stronger than brick houses, apparently. Yeah, these. Nice. What I've been enjoying as well, bro. Like, you put some here as well. That's only for your dreams, bro, or nightmares.
You've taken that dream and run with it.
But also like fear, maybe. Right.
Even me having that conversation about
the ego gets involved. People see it as a threat. If people haven't done their own work, right, of being secure by themselves.
just some little adjustments like that can actually make a big difference for comfort. And in the long run, it definitely makes a big difference for hygiene, you know, health and wellness, well-being. out here in the bush, I've certainly been swept away in the past by things like fatigue and overwhelm. And it is the disciplines of campcraft like this which can just make living a lot more comfortable. So what's going to happen now is we're going to clear some of the grass around the living space, around the home and the fire, so it feels more manicured. And also we're going to be building a shelter for the firewood to keep it off the forest floor so that no moisture from the soil wets the wood, and a bit of a shelter from the rain above, so when it rains the wood is staying relatively dry enough. When I'm cutting the grass here, I'm going to use a smaller blade actually, and I'm going to take it from the root and just cut at the very base of the grass, and that's going to make it easier for me just to manage, because I'm going to clear this whole area and this is going to end up being the roofing for the shelter. I'm actually using this particular part of the blade, and I'm being quite careful to not get the blade into the soil, because there is stones in the soil that will chip my blade. I also need to be very careful where I place my hand and the blade, because I don't want to accidentally cut my fingers. And if you just pull the grass, you can cut your hands on the grass, and I've seen that happen enough times to want to use this tool. I'm just using a bowline for the first loop, and I'm being quite lazy with how I'm tightening the thatching. Part of this process is to just actually be quite relaxed with what we're building, and to really try to be with it, like be with the grass, be with the twine, be with the sweat on my body or my itchy forearms from cutting the grass, etc. I still have a lot of ayahuasca in my body, and I want to be with her, I want to be with that, I want to still listen to what she's saying to me.
I don't have that much, but good for today and probably tomorrow, but we'll need to get the soup shop at some point.
Alright, I'll follow your lead on that one. He's also a star chef, so I'm quite blessed. I'm having some good food out here, and he's making it all so far anyway.
But yeah man, whenever you're ready, we'll just
Alright.
head out and
So we're going to take a break from work for today. We're going to go to the waterfall. Here is the thatch for the roof. Here is some of the poles for the structure for this wood fire pile we're making, and it's going to go in there. But part of, to be honest, like a personal challenge that I can have is getting pulled into work and getting pulled into having to do and having to accomplish. So to actually press pause early in the day, go for a swim, that sounds like a great idea. There's a lot of new smells in this forest for me. It's similar in some ways to subtropical Australia, which I'm very familiar with, but I'm wise enough to know I can be made a fool when I make big assumptions from nature. So it's good for me to be humble and just be guided by someone. What was that?
Watch out for the big hole.
Watch out for the big hole. Got it. I had a very lazy day yesterday. I was crooking the night actually. So yesterday I just hung out in the hammock and we're getting back to it today. Blake's getting the posts ready for the wood platform and I'll go back to cutting grass.
Professional. Filled up. Whole space.
Yeah, working with a horse, like you gotta know your emotions when you're working with a horse. So almost any wood that is in direct contact with the forest floor is just going to be exposed to a lot more moisture every day than wood that is semi-hanging. You know, it can be in a tree or fallen over half on a log, something like that. And the stuff on the forest floor, because it's soaking that moisture up a lot more, it's going to have more fungi in it. It's going to often be more decomposed. So something like this, which is very partially on the floor, it's just got that bottom tip. It feels very light. It's going to be good. I can feel it. And the more you expose yourself to these tasks or chores or activities or play, whatever you want to call it, you know, think of a child playing in the forest. The more you get to play with nature like that, could be starting a fire, could be building a little shelter, the more you step into that invitation, because life invites us to do that. We're born doing that. We're born with that curiosity and that play. The more we answer that call, the more we can really understand the little things, like being able to hear if wood is dry, or being able to feel if it will burn well, as opposed to having to think all the time. We extend our intelligence through our body. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Because we're working a lot in the grass, now it's lifting up the mosquitoes. We're just going to get a quick fire going. I'm breaking some of the wood here to hear if it's wet or if it's dry. And what I say when you can hear it is there'll be some hesitation. And I love to put human qualities and behaviors onto nature because it's a beautiful mirror there. And we're from nature. It's one of the greatest places where we can see ourselves. But there's hesitation in the cracking sound in the wood when it has moisture in it. That for me is hesitating. So then it's wet, it's green. Not only is it wet, it's green, so it won't burn. That's hesitating. So, and there's a difference with green wood and wet wood. Wet is wood from moisture, from the rain, or from the earth, or from dew, or whatever. But green wood is young. The plant has only recently died. And that will mean that there is so much moisture in all of the fibers of the wood that it will usually burn very poorly. There is some green wood you can burn, like the birch tree in the Arctic, but you really need to work it a lot. And I don't want to work this fire. I want to start the fire and then leave it behind. Still a bit hesitant. The wood is hesitant.
Sorry?
We'll see. This is pretty good, but it's not perfect. I would say to get it really solid and reliable, we actually want to thick it out with even more grass. Another 90 minutes to, yeah, it could be 60 minutes to 2 hours if one or two people is doing it. And then you've got that pretty thick. The rain's going to come down and it's going to encourage it to flow off and out. There is still going to be some rain getting through. You can make it thicker, 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 long strands, and that's going to encourage the most rain out. But this is pretty good. It's a wood pile. It's going to keep the wood mostly dry. Quite satisfied with that. That was fun. That was nice. It was a good thing for me to do with Blake building on the project, and a really pleasant thing to do after ayahuasca as well, to just be working with grass for hours. That's it from me. Back to you in the studio.